Lesson 7-6, solving multi-step inequalities, and in this lesson you'll learn to solve inequalities that involve more than one operation. Why is it important? Because solving inequalities can help you budget your money on a trip. Let's take a look at this hands-on activity. You'll need a piece of paper for this. The diagram at the right models the inequality 4 plus 2x is greater than x plus negative 2. So this is 4 plus 2x. Our cups represent our variables. Okay, so notice that the side that is lower has the heavier weight, and that's the reason why it's called an inequality, not an equation. Remember, in the equation, they should be balanced. To show the inequality, use the same process used for equations. To solve an inequality, use the same process used for equations. Okay, so first draw the same diagram in your paper of unbalanced scale and model diagram above and remove one cup from each side. So the first thing you need to do is get rid of one of the cups from each side. Get rid of that get rid of that cup, get rid of that cup. That's what you do. Okay. Uh, Place 4 zero pairs on the right side. So pause this, put your 4 zero pairs. Okay. So 4 zero pairs basically mean this. So you're getting yellow 4 zero pairs. Oopsie. Let's make it green so you can see it. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all positive. And remember what zero pairs are. Okay. You pair them with a negative. That's why they're called zero pairs. And they become 0. So that's a 0 pair. That's another 0 pair, 0 pair, and 0 pair. Okay, so these are 4 positive counters and 4 negative counters. Okay, so it says there, place 4 0 pairs on the right side. Remove 4 positive counters from each side. So we will remove 4 positive counters. We'll take out this 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now let's answer A, B, C, and D. State the inequality after removing one cup from each side. So after removing one cup from each side, you have 4x. 4 plus x is greater than negative 2. So 4 plus x is greater than negative 2. Remember how we did that? Okay, let me refresh your memory here. So what we did is that the first instruction was that remove one cup from each side. Okay, so we remove one cup from each side, and this is what we did. Okay, let me get all those things. Take them out. Oopsie. There you go. Nope. There. So those x's we removed, so we took out one x of each side, and we end up with, okay, 4 positive counters. Okay, plus x is greater than negative 2 because we removed this, we're only left with that one. Okay, so let me give that back. Okay, so why did you have to place the 4 0 pairs? Remember these 4 0 pairs? We took out the 4 0 pairs because we want to subtract. Okay, we want to remove 4 positive counters from each side, and we cannot remove 4 counters of positive counters from each side if the right side doesn't even have a positive counter. So we put 4 0 pairs. Okay, and what is the solution to our inequality? So if you look at this carefully, you have x here, and since it's still tilting to the left, okay, this is still greater than that value. X is greater than, okay, what hasn't been crossed out? 6 negative counters. So x is greater than negative 6. Well, I just told you the answer for that one. So don't mind B. Okay. So how could you check the solution? You basically substitute numbers greater than and less than negative 6 for each cup into the original inequality. What it's saying is this. To check if our answer works or not, find a value greater than negative 6 and substitute it back to the original equation inequality and see if it's true or not. If it's true, our answer is correct. Okay? So inequalities can be solved by applying the methods for solving equations. Remember that if each side of an equality is multiplied or divided by a negative number, the sign of the inequality should be reversed. Okay? Let's take a look at this example. Example number 1, solve each inequality and check the solution. Graph the solution on a number line. So you have 7x plus 29 greater than 15. And this is a two-step inequality, meaning they take us 2 steps to solve this inequality. And just like an equation, we want to undo, okay, positive 29 first. Okay, we were working backwards, so we need to undo positive 29. And in order to undo positive 29, okay, copy the inequality, we need to subtract 29 to both sides of the inequality. Okay, so subtracting 29 will leave us with 7x is greater than negative 14. And then we simply divide both sides by 7 because this is multiplication. So we end up with x is greater than negative 2. Okay, and x is greater than negative 2. Why did the inequality not change, the symbol not change? Because we did not divide or multiply by a negative number. We divided by positive 7. And that's the reason why the inequality remained the same. So any number greater than negative 2 is a solution for this inequality. And let's check our answer. Since 0 is greater than negative 2, we'll try 0, see if it makes sense or not. 0 plus 7 times 0 plus 29, is it greater than 15? We find out that it is. 29 is greater than 15. Our answer checks out. And to be able to graph this inequality, remember the solution is x is greater than negative 2. The greater than symbol means it's an open dot, and since it's pointing away, okay, from the variable, it's an open dot going to the right. Okay, so it's an open dot on negative 2 going to the right. And that's how you graph your inequality. Let's take a look at letter B. 13 minus 6n less than or equal to 49 minus 2n. We now have variables on both sides of our inequality, and we need to undo one of them. Okay, because we only want to solve for one variable. So in order to undo one of them, let's copy the inequality first. We want to undo negative 2n. And in order to undo negative 2n, we add 2n to both sides to undo that. So you now have 13 minus 6n plus 2n is less than or equal to 49 minus 2n plus 2n. We add 2n to each side. Adding 2n to each side, we end up with 6n minus 4n less than or equal to 49. Two-step equation. Work backward. We need to undo positive 13. Okay, so if we undo positive, in order to undo positive 13, we need to subtract both sides by 13. So we subtract both sides by 13. We end up with negative 4n less than or equal to 36. Okay, remember what I told you in the past. Okay, the operation before the number is the sign of the number when it comes to addition or subtraction. Again, when it comes to addition or subtraction, the operation before the number is the sign of the number, and that's the reason why this is negative 4n. Okay, and as you know, negative 4n is a multiplication operation, so we undo multiplication by division, and that's why we need to divide both sides by negative 4. Now take a look at this. Since we're dividing both sides by a negative number, look at the inequality. The inequality now reverses. From a less than or equal to, it becomes greater than or equal to. Okay, and then n is greater than or equal to negative 9. Okay, so any number greater than or equal to negative 9 is a solution for this inequality. And let's check our answer. We'll get negative 5 as a number greater than negative 9. Okay, and substitute it back to our original inequality. Okay, so replacing that and simplifying everything, we have 13 plus 30 less than or equal to 49 plus 10. It checks out because 43 is a lot less than 59. Okay, And look at our solution. N is greater than or equal to negative 9. Since it's greater than or equal to, okay, we need to have a closed dot right here. And since it's pointing away from the variable, it goes to the right. So basically, you go to negative 9, put a closed dot on negative 9, and go to the right. Okay, and that's how you graph your inequality. Let's take a look at the last example. Before we go to the last example, the keyword for this particular lesson will be Iron Man. Okay, the keyword is Iron Man. Okay, or the secret word is Iron Man. So when solving inequalities that contain grouping symbols, remember to first use the distributive property to remove grouping symbols, very similar to equations. So Route 1A along the Maine coast is called one of the most scenic highways in America. Every year, thousands of people go there to see the ocean in charming New England villages. Suppose you rented a car in Portland for $139.95 plus 25 cents per mile for each mile over 100 miles. So again, let's take a look at this. The deal is, okay, the rented car is $139.95, and you add 25 cents per mile for each mile that you go over 100 miles. So if you had budgeted up to $200 for car rental in your vacation budget, how many miles could you drive and stay within the budget? So basically, you don't want to spend more than 200 in your rental car. So it's asking how many miles could you drive and stay within the budget. Okay, so first things first, let statement. Let M represent the number of miles driven. Okay, so we get our 139 miles, 139.95, our rental price, okay, plus 25 cents per mile. So that means 0.25 times M minus 100. Why M minus 100? Because it's a number of miles over 100. Okay, so that's the reason why it's M minus 100, because the first 100 miles is free. You're only paying for, okay, the miles you drive over 100. Okay, it's not really free, but you don't pay a per mile fee up to 100 miles. So when you pass 100 miles, that's when you start paying. Okay, so that's M minus 100 is no more than, will give you an equality of less than or equal to, okay, your budget price of 200, budgeted amount of $200. So this now becomes your inequality. Okay, and then we solve our inequality, making them all closer together. Again, we want to solve for our variable M. That means we need to simplify both sides of our inequality, and an expression is simplified when there are no like terms and no parentheses. So we get rid of parentheses by using the distributive property. We distribute 0.25 to M and to 100, and that's how we end up with 0.25 M minus 25, because 0.25 times 100 is 25. Okay, both sides are not simplified yet because we can subtract 25 from 100.95, 139.95 minus 25. Okay, and that'll give you 114.95 plus 0.25 M. Now both sides are simplified. Okay, wait, there are reasons here did not. There you go. Okay, so both sides have been simplified. We can solve for N. Okay, we want to isolate M, so we work backward. We want to get rid of positive 114.95 by subtracting both sides by 114.95. Okay, end up with 0.25 M less than or equal to 85.05. And we divide both sides by 0.25 M. Okay, end up with M less than or equal to 340.2. Well, obviously we use a calculator for this. So that means, what does that mean? That means that you could drive up to 340.2 miles, and stay within your budget. Okay? And that's the end of our lesson. Thank you for watching.